When I began my work with NON, the organization had already developed a list of priorities from a retreat that they had had in 2005. So I came on board in December 2006, and my job was to open up an office located here in Stephenville and to assist in the implementation of the first annual General Assembly for the Newfoundland Aboriginal Women's Network. At the annual General Assembly, the women who attended were asked to identify a list of priorities for the next 2 fiscal years. And from that, the proposal was written. The women identified the fact that they wanted a revitalization of the culture to be the main component of anything that we did. They talked about the level of violence and the things that were happening in the local communities that they really felt helpless to do anything about. As Aboriginal women, they believed at that time that the culture, some sort of programming that included culture, would be a different way and would work with the women in our communities. So that's where part of it came from. Also, at the annual General Assembly, we identified that not very many of our women were in leadership roles in their communities, but a lot of them wanted to be. They were asked what held them back, and all identified that they felt they needed training, they needed to understand how boards of directors worked, they needed skills in public speaking. So from that survey of the women at the annual General Assembly, the project was developed. Once we identified what the women wanted us to do, we started to look for funding opportunities. Canadian Heritage had already done some work with the Newfoundland Aboriginal Women's Network, including the retreat and the annual General Assembly. So we looked at other areas that we could find funding. One of the areas we identified was the Status of Women Canada. As well, the provincial government, through their Women's Policy Office and Labrador and Aboriginal Affairs, were on board with what we wanted to do. They just wanted us to put something on paper and show them that what we were looking for could be done. Once we identified the funding agencies, we had someone come in, and that person worked with me to develop the proposal. Once we received confirmation from one funder, it made it easier for us to receive the funding from the other funders, because we needed partnership funding. The project, Newfoundland is a very large island, and we were talking about 3 very distinct regions. We wanted the project to have women from all the different areas where Aboriginal people lived. Unfortunately, the funding limited us to including the whole island, so we did central and western Newfoundland. And we looked for funding for 58 women for a train-to-trainer program that would be culturally based, would develop leadership skills in the women, and would help them to understand the important role that they played in their local communities. The success of the project depended as well on the support from our funding agencies. The financial support, of course, is necessary to be able to do any type of project, and something as large as a train-to-trainer program for 58 women was costly. But from my perspective as a project manager, the project would not have been as successful if we would not have had the moral support of the funding agencies. the professional people working in these agencies, when we ran into any type of problem, whether it was logistics or a snowstorm or figuring out some way to make things work because they weren't working, these people were always there ready to assist, and that's what you need for a successful project. You need people who believe in you and are willing to go just that little bit extra because they do believe in you. The 3 women you are going to hear from next were women that completed all of our workshops and are implementing workshops out in the community. And they will tell you how they have been impacted by this project.
And we recognize the need for the Aboriginal women of Newfoundland to speak with one voice. I've got together with other groups. I remember our first meeting as a group of Aboriginal women from Newfoundland. We all went with brown bag lunches and stayed in a little Girl Guide camp out in central Newfoundland, and it was the most amazing weekend for all that. It was for what we didn't have. We had great spirit. It was a great group of women, and the Newfoundland Aboriginal Women's Network was founded.
Well, I was fairly involved before within the Aboriginal circle within my own community, and I knew some of the women that are involved with NON, and once I heard about it, I put my name in to be involved in the training. I was pretty excited. It was an excellent opportunity to meet other people, learn more about my culture, and fine-tune any skills I have, and at the same time there is enough troubles that go on within the different communities, small communities, and they're needed some help in some way, and I've seen this as a good avenue for it.
My friend there called me on the issue that her daughter she was thinking that her daughter was into a date violence relationship. And she called me and she was some concerns before she went a little bit further, just wondering if this was the right, thing that she was doing. And I told her yes, because it was actually, I said, like you could tell it was following a pattern. And so anyway, she took actions and she went to, a guidance counselor at school, and she went further.
And fine-tuned what I did have. I'd like to think I was confident before, but it strengthened that confidence. It's helped me be able to speak more and, well, not just with my own abilities, but it's increased my knowledge too. Like different resources you can look into to be able to find answers and be able to help other people recognize different things.
This is a worthwhile cause, but I need to be better, so I went on and did some further education so I could become a better facilitator. And I haven't looked back, and absolutely love the rewards that comes from it, especially with the young people and the seniors, we're helping them realize the issues and what they can do to help themselves and other people around them.
I find myself more looking for roles where I'm more in a leadership role. I've gone back to school, that kind of thing. I can see the impact there. I feel more confident to, well, before I wasn't exactly a follower. I'd go in the front lines if I had to.
Yeah.
Now it don't bother me at all. I'll just go ahead without needing to pay. Oh, the community, it's been a good effect because a lot of times when something happens, people do not bring it out into the open. It's given the people a chance to talk about stuff that has happened to them, make it more aware, because okay, you see the stuff on TV, but you don't really realize it until you hear it within your own community. Or if not, yeah, this happens, but it don't really impact you until you know a person. And it's given people more of an awareness.
But I found a lot of the people too, like even just doing workshops with some of the women, like some of them probably had like, you know, not knowing what to expect at the workshop, just listened to it, was like, But seemed like after they left, like they said that they had a better understanding of what, whether it be date violence or sexual assault or whatever. It's like, oh yeah, I never ever thought that that was included in, and I never thought, but a lot of them said that they found it was a great learning experience.
As we go through, more of the culture it sneaks in there, especially, you know, when it comes to respect, the self-respect and respect for everything, everybody around you, your environment. Yeah, it kind of creeps in throughout the workshop.
The thing that I think they liked about it was when we had the little talking circle. So if it was, we did a workshop on date violence, and if they were experiencing any kind of, or they thought would be date violence, like it was talked about, and they knew that it was confidential, but like it just, so then it was almost like just talking, and it was just like, you know, everybody putting their voicing their opinions and helping them out, so they kind of felt that it was healing to them, because it was helping them to get over, I guess, if they felt, oh my God, is this really what I'm going through? So then just to get it out in the open and knowing that it's not going any further, to the point that knowing, okay, yeah, I think I've got healing from this, and I can work on this, or I can stop this, or whatnot. But I honestly think that it does, the cultural part makes a big difference on it.
Oh, definitely it has been. The people crave their culture, and especially with how our people for years have hidden who they were because of all the bias and all those types of opinions and stereotypes. The people crave it. It gives you that part of what is missing. It gives you that piece that other things can't.
Overall, I felt that it was a great experience, and it inspired me to the fullest, especially from the part from just spending time with all of you know, the other facilitators and the other participants in the group. Felt that it made us a closer family, and I really felt that I made a lot of nice friends. And for the part about the cultural part, like that was a big thing for me. Like I really enjoyed the cultural part. I just wish that we had something like that in our community, and I know I could probably boost something and try to get it started, but like when it's a small community, sometimes it's hard to get the people to open up and you know, just to come out and participate in something like that. But overall, like I said, it helped me because I'm 15 months later now, I've finished my course, my LPN, and I just did my exam for my national, and I'm just hoping that I'm going to pass and look for a brighter future for me in the working. But I think overall it's going to even make me, not only has it made me a better person, but I'm hoping it's going to make me a really good nurse.
None can continue from the vision that we started with many years ago, only become better. You know, us women helping to bring all other Aboriginal women into the group with respect and dignity and empowerment, and just a good way of life, and leading by example, you know, so our children can become good, strong Aboriginal people and leaders in our community. Just make a good way of life for all of us.
This training has had an impact on my life, even though it may not be wrote in a big banner or a big sign wrote on my chest, hey, I did this or whatever, but I carry that within me as a person. It has made me who I am today.